that #1 album in the country right now. Proud to come to life. Baby, I love your way. It's 7:10 Friday night, and it's the Friday the 13th with Paul Thompson. Adele said to you a little earlier on, you said everything was all right. Well, it's not. She said that up until today, we haven't had any rain. Well, I don't think that's true. Heck, it rains here all the time. So I don't think it rains anything new to you. In fact, look at my feet, the webs on them.
A dramatic reading by Mary Alice Murphy. Happy birthday, America. Here's the fruit and the trees. Thank you a lot for your beautiful trees. You give them real talk and put them in flight to help out the carpenters and the schools and the floods. So thank you, America, for the trees in your heart and for keeping them safe.
This fire prevention reminder brought to you by the ITT Rainier Timber Division.
And Mary Alice Murphy.
Here's special news of a limited time offer the night playing for your dancing entertainment.
just the beginning. Lighthouse Charlie Matteau, who received his appointment as head chief of the Shoalwater Bay tribe August 12, 1876, was the last of the old-time chiefs. Matteau, known as Toke, and after him Toke Land is named, was also known as Lighthouse Charlie. Perhaps because he gave Uncle Sam the land on which was built the lighthouse at the north side of the entrance to Willapa Harbor. Chief Matteau's credo: white man would run their affairs their way, and he would run the Indian affairs. This he did until his death by drowning in the Columbia River. Endorsed onto Lighthouse Charlie Matteau's chief paper is this notice: the authority hereby granted to the above person now deceased is hereby given to his son George A. Charlie until a new paper is issued. Puyallup Agency, Washington, November 29, 1889. Edwin L. signed, U.S. Indian Agent. George A. Charlie was born 1864, dropped the Indian name of Matteau, and took his father's given name for himself, his wife Caroline Matteau, and their 12 children. Of George and Caroline's 12 children, only the last two girls, Irene and Nina, survived. Of Chief Charlie, the Southwester in autumn 1966 issue. He early exhibited the traits which marked him as a leader of men, and performed deeds of valor in assisting the North Cove life-saving service. Well known from the Columbia River to Port Angeles, he was active in Indian affairs, as guardian over 28 families. He instigated work projects for benefit of his people and made sure the children attended the schools for Indians. Regal in stature and bearing, he was always a popular orator and pioneer gathering. George Charlie was one of the last of the local Indians to have the flattened skull which indicated royal lineage. Autumn 1966 issue of the Southwester told the death of Chief George Charlie. On December 17, 1935, while fishing alone with a dip net at the mouth of the Canal River, a giant breaker swept him out to sea, and the body was returned by the sheriff. Impressive services were conducted by the Reverend Joseph Hillier of Lummi tribe in the Sacred Church at Chehalis, following which he was brought home to his beloved Shoalwater Bay for interment in the little cemetery on the reservation. Hard Plum is an article in the Seattle Times said of Chief Charlie. In all history, commitment to sacrifice oneself for the people has been a definitive element of true human greatness. By that measure, George Allen Charlie surely ranks one of the great Indian chiefs. I must believe that, as the great wave engulfed his body after horror, the spirit of George Allen Charlie was borne away by the Salmon people and became one with them on the way to their far and deep secret place in the dark, deep, rolling sea. Today, well over 3/4 of the Shoalwater Bay tribe are descendants of Chief George Allen Charlie.
the road was better than that. Yeah, one time I seen him sitting in the up and up, it looked like Mr. Carnation, he was so content. Hey, I seen, you know what, I seen driving through LA, I thought he was in a rental, smoking. He was sitting with a window on in a brown suit. Well, I think we got 52 student sellers used to do. Hey, there's more Whitner on there. I think he got driver's license now. Has it? Oh, he probably opened his eyes, huh? Yeah. He seemed like his eyes were closed to it. He's like John Doe, now he's supposed to average 24. Yeah, that's right. Oh, I had 3 beers last night. I poured 3 to it. Tried to be sociable.
Maybe we used them for coffee. Crumple one?
No, it's good. It's not a good social night, Joe. All that man is sociable. Oh, you're a man, I will. What's the reason? Yeah. Holy man, I thought you died 20 years ago. If you want to know all that back there next door, tell them in the radio, they're very serious. You know, he was still there. Big army overcoat on. Yeah. That was in the 30s, you know? Who, Roy, you? Rock was afterwards. We missed him when we got out the dock. And now come back. Where's the mom at, huh? Not done yet. What's that? Another minute. Funny? Good. I had a bunch of people in the pickup right there. And head down this way, and they got hit by a car with a bunch of young people in it. And somebody went to hospital. And but none of them was in the car. You wasn't in the car? No, but you can call me. And get more information. He said he's going to get through here. And I didn't get home. Got 1-0. 1-0 first? Yeah, I got 1. Yeah. What happened? I'm down here to raise right now. What happened? In Grant's car or the truck? Well, where did this happen at? Yeah? Well, they evidently must be in the hospital now. This happened about how long ago? Yeah. Well, we all been waiting here too. We thought, everybody would be here, around noon. Well, it's just Ma wasn't in there then, huh? Oh. Uh-huh. Well, who had the truck packed at the van truck, huh? Oh, and that's the truck that got in the wreck, huh? Oh, Grant got in the wreck. Oh, I see. How was Grant? How are you? Well, if you did any kind of work, would you give us a call right here? Well, I'll put the answer down there. You got a raised number, yes? Mm-hmm. Right. You call the hospital? Yeah, well, call the hospital. Yeah. Okay then. Bye. Grant was driving his truck when he had those kids in there. And that got hit on that Ocean Shores way. Some young kid that had hit him or something. And asked him to come with a bicycle truck. That's on Grandma? Huh? Is that Grandma? Yeah. No. Okay. No, I was waiting for the ambulance to go by now, to go back to, towards the hospital. I could have called the hospital. It may have went, I don't know. They must have happened within the last half an hour. There was only two people that had offspring that child, that Charlie. Only one. We got Edwin Charlie. He's the only male, except for Arlie, Johnny Arlie, who has a son, that's Charlie. So you can see that the Charlie family the name is going to gradually disappear from this reservation, unless he comes down here, and brings the name back. That's the way with some of the one family, Hudson's in Chehalis, like Cy Hudson's mother and father, all the sisters, the whole family is gone. They're just off of the whole face of the earth. But anyway. So, I just think about that myself. I'm thinking, gee, look at this. Here we're commemorating the great Charlie name, and it's gradually becoming extinct. We talk about intermarriage, not intermarriage, but it's really a death. Too many girls. That's too many girls, not enough boys. It's kind of a saddening thing to, to think that way, but it's pure fact, and we have to understand facts are facts. Well, you figure not only the Chehalis, but the Indians, just the same way. Every generation has got more white. Yeah, that's true. Just next 3 or 4 more generations, This is where the Indian people, such as Shoalwater, any Indian people in the United States, they have to become more aware of what's happening. The white man doesn't have to try to exterminate you by genocide anymore. They just wait until your blood quantum gets to the point of where it's not even recognizable anymore. Okay, so that's. And here's one of the culprits right here. You don't have to do it that way either, John. I just destroy everything that's out in this country that we're going to starve to death in 20 years. I'm half, half Indian, half white. And my kids are boys, so if they marry other than the Indians, they're not recognizable anymore as far as tribal roles are concerned. The funny part of an Indian, even though you own 134th or 136th and 164th, you still recognize that Indian blood. I know John Doe, he's been more of an Indian than I have all these years. He's lived with Indian people here all of his life. He even had a blue card at one time. Yeah. Somebody found out about it. He could hunt and fish on the reservation, and but in the last 10 years they've done away with those kind of special permits now, and you wouldn't be able to do that. Well, I'll tell you, Sonny, I never bought a commercial fishing license in my life. And I fished for I don't know how many years. 55 years. Wow. Yeah. No, I think I go fishing now, not being even half of my life. Yeah. Well, I can remember, with the God, I had picked some of them guys up and this was where I was brought up more than 50 years ago. In fact, I spent the first 8 years of my life in the Shoalwater Reservation. And then we moved down to it, went off and on, and we come back here, and eventually we moved there permanently. But I recognize this little Shoalwater as kind of a stopping off place for many Indian people traveling north, traveling south, whatever. This is kind of a place where they reap provisions. They were guided from here on up north. They made up to the westward area, and from there they took their usual ride across the bar there, or a canoe, or whatever boat they had. Chehalis family has been recognized as a very strong, disciplined family, because I can remember my mother telling me about her mother, and that would be my grandmother, that she was very strict. The values of everything, they didn't take anything for granted. They recognized that something, the discipline problem is the one word that you can control. What burns me up, John, when I hear all these people talking on the radio about celebrating this great country's 200th anniversary, and for the life of me, I cannot see how in 200 years you can destroy everything in a place like this, when the Indians lived here over 15,000 years, and they had more. When the white man come in, they had when they started. That's true. They started out by annihilating the passenger pigeons, then they killed off all the buffaloes And a whole lot of that was done on presidential order to shoot and kill all the buffalo there was for just to hide to force the Indians on the reservation. They were not part of the project, which they did. I think that was old Hope, President Hope, but then he came. I don't know what in the world they got to celebrate. They haven't got anything left to destroy the timber, the minerals, the oil, the white man first come to the shores, John. The Indians took sides. They didn't know what side to take. They were undivided. They didn't know. They wanted to be nice to these people. Just if you try to be nice to them, well, you had other factions over here that weren't so nice. So they all seen what was happening. So eventually they were fighting one another. And well, I'll never celebrate the except for well, we celebrate so-called 4th of July every year, but really, what are we celebrating? I don't know. We're just celebrating because everybody else is celebrating. You know, well, we don't have anything to celebrate. We don't have anything to celebrate. We don't have anything to celebrate about. Well, I didn't want to say that, no. You're on the ground well, I never go to liquor stores, but I do spend an occasional hour or two in the bar. You know, a lot of people say that, like the Charlie family, and I was down talking about Lighthouse Charlie. He was a hard man, as history tells me, as my older people tell me. He was a strong, and I'm
Anderson? And who is torture on the women?
That'll be the last one. You know there's 22 women in this? Yeah. That's right. Second to the last.
Second to the last one, that was the Joanne. 20? Yeah, Joanne. I know, but who is 20? Joanne. Who? Joanne. Joanne? Well, these are the sizes, and which one was your thinking of which one is the man and which one is the woman? Either one of them. The one with one missing is the woman. Okay. This is funny.
Just tell Joanne to bring home the bacon. That's my mother right there. See the domination what I'm talking about? That's the old chicken right there.
You have the health. Okay, everybody enjoy yourself. This is my old hometown. These are all my people. Included as old friends. Oh, he gave us the...
My mother's pushing up by this one and says, you know, own down and she doesn't use the water anymore.
Oh, yeah.
She forgot about it.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to your 6-9 plate.
And don't spare the horses.
Yes, I have one of those.
I had to look to my mom.
Awesome.
Good one. Good. Go forward with them. Oh, did he?
That's pretty good when you need it for you.
They all need
Need to have food in it. There's quite a few. I think
watermelon. I just come up small so you need to there's another one in there. You're fine to me. I can cut up to the Been away from my people for so many years that it's really hard for me to think back 40 years. It's 40 years ago since we spoke Indian all together. At home we didn't speak anything else but Indian. But
In the Chehalis, when you say something, you say Chinook. And I've been in Chehalis since 1931, and that's been a long time ago. And you say Chinook. Thank you. And in my people here, we say master. That means thank you too. Master. So, thank you everybody. And I'd like to, before I finish my little 5-minute talk, I think a gathering like this, everybody seems to be happy, and you know why. Like my son said, we all believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. And when I was down in Arizona, Yuma, Arizona, not very long ago, we just came from Yuma, Arizona. My daughter and I went to the service, because she goes to church. And I know all you people. The Willapa Harbor Indians are proud people. They believed in the Lord. We had each house here. They have a prayer service. And everybody attended. The young people attended. And we have to acknowledge that we are believers. We are believers in the Lord Jesus Christ. And I'd feel awful if I came over here and didn't testify. Because my father and my mother were both Christians. That didn't make us Christians. We were wild Indians as young people. But we know who watched over us. My mother used to say, well, one of these days, my children are going to accept the Lord Jesus Christ. And we did. And my talk for you, young people, is to accept the Lord as your shepherd. In Arizona, most of the Indian people are shepherds. They have a lot of sheep. They make rugs, and they're shepherds among the young people. And when I went over there, I testified. Well, my son-in-law said, get up and testify. And I said, I see the shepherds there. They're just as shepherds. They have their staff to keep in mind. I said, I highly recommend the Lord Jesus Christ as your shepherd. And I'd like to have you learn the 23rd Psalm that says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leadeth me the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That's the end of my little speech.
Thank you, Mom.
Lighthouse Charlie McCoat, who received his appointment as head chief of the Shoalwater Bay tribe August 12, 1876, was the last of the old-time chiefs. McCoat, known as Toke, and after whom Tokeland is named, was also known as Lighthouse Charlie, perhaps because he gave Uncle Sam the land in which was built the lighthouse at the north side of the entrance to Willapa Harbor. Chief McCoat's credo: white man could run their affairs their own way, and he would run the Indian affairs. This he did until his death by drowning in the Columbia River. Endorsed onto Lighthouse Charlie McCoat's chief's paper is this notice: the authority hereby granted to the above person, now deceased, is hereby given to his son George A. Charlie until a new paper is issued. Puyallup Agency, Washington. November 29, 1889. Edwin Ells, signed, U.S. Indian Agent. George A. Charlie, born 1864, dropped the Indian name of Matteau and took his father's given name for himself, his wife Caroline McHale, and their 12 children. Of George and Caroline's 12 children, only the last two girls, Irene and Nina, survived. One of Chief Charlie's, the Southwest reported in its autumn 1966 issue. He early exhibited the traits which marked him as a leader of men and performed deeds of valor in assisting the North Cove Life-Saving Service. Well known from the Columbia River to Port Angeles, he was active in Indian affairs. As guardian over 28 families, he instigated work projects for benefits of his people and made sure the children attended schools for Indians. Regal in stature and bearing, he was always a popular orator at pioneer gatherings. George Charlie was one of the last of the local Indians to have a flattened skull which indicated royal lineage. The autumn 1966 issue of the Southwester told the death of Chief George Charlie. On December 17, 1935, while fishing alone with a dip net at the mouth of the Quinault River, a giant breaker swept him out to sea. When his body was returned by the surf, impressive services were conducted by Reverend Joseph Hillier of the Lummi tribe in the sacred church at Chehalis, following which he was brought home to his beloved Shoalwater Bay for interment in the little cemetery on the reservation. Hard Plum is an article in Seattle Times, said of Chief Charlie. In all history, the commitment to sacrifice oneself for the people has been the definitive element of true human greatness. By that measure, Judge Allen Charlie truly ranks as one of the great Indian chiefs. I must believe that as the great wave engulfed his body off Chehalis, the spirit of George Allen Charlie was blown away by the salmon people, and he became one with them on the way to their far and secret place in the dark, deep, rolling sea. Today, well over 3/4 of the Shoalwater Bay Indian tribes are descendants of Chief George Allen Charlie. You have to get closer. You're asking for this.
I don't want to get my picture then.
This is a big interview. This is a big interview?
No, I'll be off the side, off camera, and just talking to you, but listen to the camera, alright? Okay, could you tell us about your father?
Yeah, come closer, honey. Yes, my father was raised here. Is it raised now? Yeah. Well, my father was raised here. This is named after him. This is, they call it Georgetown. My father's name was George Allen Charlie. And he was, a long time ago, they had what we call chief. But of course, it seems like nowadays we have a business committee and all that stuff. It seems as though it's all thing of the past now, but a lot of the people, they still acknowledge their royal blood. And so my father was one of my great-grandfather was a participant in the treaty of the Chehalis Indians. This is the original Chehalis Indian. The city of Chehalis is not That's a different tribe of Indians up there. This is the original Chehalis Indians up here. And I don't know why they're trying to make us believe that we are the Willapa Harbor, but the Willapa Harbor belongs on that side of the bay. See, there's a bay right here, and this is the original Chehalis, and that side of the bay is the Willapa Harbor Indians. That's there's just a very few people left, although this was a very big village. This is a big Indian village, and it has a lot of history because I don't know if you read about Swan, James Swan. I've read his book, and he visited here, and he stayed here among the Indians, and he spoke the Indian language. He spoke the original Chehalis language. That's how they pronounce it. That's the way it's pronounced in the Indian, among the Indians. They call it Chehalis. That means something you eat that's party, like a green apple is tart, not sweet. That's what Chehalis means. Just to dig that bulb among the. A long time ago, there used to be a lot of sand dunes out there. It's all gone now. No more sand dunes. So, but my grandfather was he was one of the chiefs that took part in the original treaty in 1855 of Governor Stevens, and they called my father the belligerent chief. He wouldn't stand up when the Governor Stevens came over and they were supposed to stand up. My grandfather wouldn't stand up. He said, I was born a chief. He said, you're a governor. You went to school to be a governor. I was born a chief, and I'm not going to stand up for anybody. He said, if you don't shake hands with me, okay. But he didn't stand up. So they called him the belligerent chief. He wouldn't stand up for anybody. So, and he said, you folks are just telling us a bunch of lies. See, my grandfather was, he associated among the Indians, among the whites, not the Indians. Of course, he was lived with the Indians, but so he could speak just like we do, you know, not, he wasn't a college man or anything like that, but just the ordinary, everyday language. So he said, you folks are just telling us a bunch of lies. He said, one of these days, he said, they won't let us go hunting. They won't let us go clam digging. They won't let us go fishing. Today has come. You can't just go out and clam dig. They're going to pick you up if you go clam dig. And when you do clam dig, they'll just let you have 15, that's all. So, see, those people, they could see way ahead of time where we couldn't. There's all people that say, oh, they're crazy. This used to be like this all the time, but that man, he could see ahead of time. That was my grandfather. His name was Mutut. And that's what my son Francis, that's his name. That's his Indian name. So, many times I've heard, there's an old lady, they call her Grandma Underwood. I don't know if she's that boy right there, that's related to the Underwoods. And she was 94, and she told me all about the treaty. Her father was his name was Cosmopolis Pete, and he was one of the ones that took part in the treaty. And she told me, it took her all afternoon to tell me about that treaty. Of course, she could have told me in 10 or 15 minutes. It took her all afternoon. She was sitting down on the chair, and she'd tell me a little while, and then she'd sit down and concentrate, and then she'd tell me some more. It took her all afternoon, about 3 hours, to tell me about the treaty, which took part in Cosmopolis in 1855, and it was very cold because I believe it was January or February, something like that. That's very cold here, you know, in that those months are our cold months here. Well, it's cold all over. January and February is cold all over. So it was kind of interesting because she was old, 94 years old, but her mind was very sharp, and there was nothing senile about her. She was a very intelligent woman, and she told me about the treaty. And the white man was the interpreter. He couldn't speak just as good Indian as anybody, any of the Indians rather. But he was a white man. He wasn't Indian, but he was just raised among the Indians, and he could speak their language. And he was the interpreter. And I think I don't remember his name now, but I did remember his name. And my grandfather was also one of the people, but they called him the belligerent chief. Mm-hmm. You read about it in the history. He wouldn't stand up when the governor came over. Everybody stood up, but except my grandfather. He said, "I'm not standing up." He said, "I was born a chief." He said, you went to school to become a governor. He named that school, you know, but he said, I myself was born a chief. Mm-hmm. And he was, and that was the truth. So.
The treaty, was it signed for land, or what?
No, they wanted to set aside what they call a reservation. Well, it is today, a reservation. Each tribe has a reservation. They set aside a little piece of land, and they put the Indians there, and they took this like a drop in the water bucket compared to what we owned before. Yeah. Because this is all our land. They didn't have to set aside something for us because we owned it. The Indians used to say, "That's our roof, and this is our floor." We owned it. They owned it. Mm-hmm. That's how they felt. It was, but when the white people came, well, they set the Indians aside. Mm-hmm. Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Do you know, like, the legend of the Salmon people? It was mentioned by Hartman when he was talking about your father going, when he went into the sea. He said he went to go meet the Salmon people. Is there a legend about that? About the
what?
Salmon people?
Well, it was the salmon fishing has always been there. That was their livelihood. They ate salmon. They lived on salmon. That was the Indian food. Salmon is a regular Indian food, and it was free for everybody. I remember here that one of the girls lost one of her daughters. We went over to a reservation in Chehalis or something like that on the Puget Sound, and they let this man fish for 2 days, and he really caught a lot of fish to feed the Indians that came over to attend the funeral. Just think how much fish used to be. There was so much fish a long time ago. Nowadays, our fish is nearly all gone because there's so much, what would you call, the water is all contaminated. The rivers are contaminated. Even the ground is contaminated. So, we're the losers. We're not the winners, we're the losers. The Indians are the losers. Regardless of what they give us. The Columbia River Indians, there's not enough money in the Fort Knox. There's not enough money in the United States to pay the Indians what they took away from them on the Columbia River. That Columbia River is one of the biggest producing rivers of fish in the United States, and everybody has to agree because it is. That's a big river, that Columbia River. And it's not only in thousands of dollars. The people have made millions of dollars off the Columbia River. Not only the Columbia River, but all these little rivers long time ago, they produced a lot of fish. And that's what the Indians lived on. And out in our woods with elk and deer. When I first got to Tahoe, I couldn't eat that wild meat. I wasn't brought up to eat wild meat. Over here, I can just remember we had cattle. We had beef. We lived on beef. But when I got to Tahoe, somebody brought over a whole quarter of an elk. And I said, well, what am I going to do with that? They said, well, can it or smoke it or something. So that was, so this is the original hill over here. This isn't the, what they call it, the Willapa Harbor. They call it the Shoalwater Bay. It really is. Now, is there anything else?
I think, is that, yeah, good enough. What we have, that'll be all.
Would that be all? Well, that's just, I'm glad to take part because this is really where I belong. These are all my people, the Geraldine and Rachel and her children, they all my people.
Okay, well, thank you very much.